Good morning and welcome to Thursday's Maths. So, yesterday we started looking at something called compensation, and that's when you do something, so then you've got to kind of compensate, you've got to kind of equal it on the other side. So yesterday we were looking at the fact that if you times a factor by 2, you need to times the product by 2. So an example of this would be 4 times 4, for example. So 4 times 4 is 16. If I then did 4 times 8, so I've multiplied that factor of 4 by 2 to get to 8, I then need to multiply the product by 2 as well. So I would do 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 8 is 32. So whatever you do to one side, you need to do to the other side. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch yesterday's video very quickly. It was a nice short one. So today we're going to carry on with this compensation, but solving division calculations. Okay then, here is my rewind for today. Even though technically, it's maybe not a rewind as such, we don't always use this language in school, but we're going to use it today. So if I was you, I would write this down somewhere so you've got it to refer back to as you go through the lesson. So you've got these 3 words to describe things in a division equation. So you've got the dividend, and that's the large number that you are sharing out. So in this sum, it is 20. Then you've got the divisor. The divisor is the thing that you are sharing it between. So if I have 20 sweets and I was sharing them between 4 people, 4 is my divisor. And this is one, when you do the bus stop method, this is the number that goes on the outside of the bus stop. And the answer is called your quotient. Okay, have a go at saying that word, quotient. So you've got the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient. And here's a little bar model to show this, okay? It's completely what you're used to. So the dividend 20 is the total. As you can see, it's the number at the top of the bar model. It's split into 4 parts, which is the divisor. And the quotient, 5, is what each one of those parts is worth. So that's the number in the bar model, okay? So I've got some conkers and they are shared equally between 2 people. So if I had 2 conkers, I would share them between 2 people. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And you've got a visual representation here, you've got a drawing here, and then you've got the bar model here, and then you've got written here as well. Right, I want you to be looking out for a pattern. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. If I have 4 conkers, 4 divided by 2 is 2. If I have 8 conkers, 8 divided by 2 is 4. What pattern can you see? 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. Well, hopefully you can see that every time we are doubling the amount of conkers. So we are timesing the amount of conkers by 2. So we've got 2, 2, 4, 8. What else doubles each time? Well, the amount of conkers that each person get also doubles. So we've gone from 1 conker each to 2 conkers each to 4 conkers each. So this is a bit of a diagram to show you what's going on. So if you double the dividend and keep the divisor the same, I must double the quotient. Right, that sounds a bit confusing. So let's get back to the beginning. So I told you need to write it down. So if you're doubling the dividend, the amount that you are sharing out, the amount of conkers, if you're doubling this every time, the quotient, the answer, must also double. So here it is. So I've doubled 2 conkers to get to 4 conkers. So rather than having 1 conker each, they had 2. If rather than having 4 conkers each, they had 8. Rather than sharing 4 conkers, I shared 8 conkers. So rather than having 2 conkers each, they had 4. So if you multiply the dividend by 2 and the divisor stays the same, you must multiply the quotient by 2. Okay, and it's important about the divisor staying the same. All of a sudden, if I did 8 divided by 8 people, that's going to change completely. There's no longer a relationship between these 2 calculations because the divisor has changed. Okay, this time we've got 3 divided by 3 is 1. So let's say we're sharing conkers again to keep it nice and easy. So 3 conkers, 3 people, they get 1 each. If I now had 12 conkers, 12 divided by 3 people is 4. So here, have a look at the relationship. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. If I times the dividend by 4, I times the quotient by 4 when the divisor stays the same. So we're dividing by 3 both times, so this stays the same. So we times this by 4, so we times my answer by 4. It's all about seeing these relationships to help us work things out. So there we go. If I multiply the dividend by 4 and keep the divisor the same, I must multiply the quotient by 4. Right, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Can you explain the relationship here? Well, hopefully you're telling me if I multiply the dividend by 3 and keep the divisor the same, I must multiply the quotient by 3. So you've times this by 3 to get to 15, so you can times your answer by 3 because the divisor stays the same. And this can help us work out much more complicated sums in our heads. Okay, here's a question for you. A circle has a perimeter, which we know really is called the circumference, because circ, that prefix means around, doesn't it? So a circle has a circumference of 6 metres. A smaller circle has a circumference that is 1/3 the length. What is the circumference? Okay, once you've worked that bit out, you're going to use the answer you've got here. You're going to use this number sentence to help you work out this one. A circle has a perimeter of 24 metres. A smaller circle has a perimeter that's 1/3 the length. What is its perimeter? Pause the video. Let's have a go. Okay, so for this one then, first of all, you had a 6 metre circle, so a third, so 6 divided by 3 is 2 metres. For the next one, we still wanted a third, we were still dividing by 3, but we're going to do 6, we're going to times by 4 to get to 24, because it said it was a 24 metre circle, the second circle. So we've times the dividend by 4, so we need to times the quotient by 4. So 24 divided by 3 is 8. Now, of course, at the minute, these numbers are quite easy. You know that using your times tables. But if these numbers were a lot bigger, hopefully you can see how having this number fact here is going to help you work out this number fact here, because you times both sides of it by 4. Right then, worded problem. So again, we're still keeping these numbers nice and easy. So we've got 16 apples are shared equally between 4 people. How many apples do they get each? So that's one number sentence to have a go at. And then I want you to use that number sentence to work out this one. 8 apples are shared equally between 4 people. How many apples do they get each? And again, these numbers are simple. It's all about simple numbers to start off with to look at the relationship between these two equations. Okay, next one. I want you to write it down. So you should have 2 number sentences written down. And I want you to write down the relationship and try and do if I divide the dividend by and keep the divisor the same, I must divide the quotient by. Okay, I want you to try and keep saying these number sentences. Off we go. Hopefully you got something like this. If I divide the dividend by 3 and keep the divisor the same, I must divide the quotient by 3. Okay, the relationship between 21 divided by 7 is 3. Divide it all by 3. 7 divided by 7 is 1, because 21 divided by 3 is 7. So you divide the answer by 3 to get 1. Really well done if you got that right. Okay, I now want you to use what you've been doing to work out the missing numbers. I know you could work these missing numbers out just by using your times tables, but I really want you to have a look at using the relationship to work these out. You can prove it by using your times tables, but I want you to really look at the relationship between these two equations. Off we go. So, very excitingly, I've just found that I can draw on PowerPoint. So, there we go. So, for the first one then, you have times the dividend by 5. So now you need to times the quotient by 5, which is 5. And I can check that by using my times tables. 15 divided by 3 is, of course, 5. Next one, we've divided by 2. So the answer is 4. And then for the last one, you've timesed by 4. So the answer is times by 4, which is 12. Well done if you got those right. Right, next set of questions. Have a go. You've got these and you've got one more set of questions and then you are done. Have a go. Okay, second lot of answers then. So for the first one, you've divided the dividend by 10. So you divide the quotient by 10, which is 9. For the second one, you had 3 equations here. You needed to start with the middle one. So from 180 divided by 2 to get to 18 divided by 2, you've divided the dividend by 10. So you divide 90 by 10, which is 9. And then to get from 180 divided by 2 to 1,800 divided by 2, you have times by 10. So you times the quotient by 10, which is 900. Okay then, last one for today. This one is an explain it. So we've got Mia and Sila are looking at this problem. Mia writes 750 divided by 50 is 60. Sila writes 750 divided by 50 is 15. So I want you to have a look who's correct, and I want you to tell me where has the other person gone wrong. Off we go. Okay then, answer time. So for this one, you've got 1,500 divided by 50 is 30. Now, I know that half of 1,500 is 750 because half of 15 would be 7.5. Half of 14 is 7. 15 is 1 more. Half of 1 is 0.5. So half of 15 is 7.5. Half of 1,500 is 750. So I know that I've divided the dividend by 2, which tells me I need to divide the quotient by 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So I think that Sila is right. What's Mia done then? Because I can work out what Mia's done. How did Mia get an answer of 60? Well, she's done the right thing. She's got the right idea. But what she's done is she's times by 2. So she's times the quotient by 2. She's done 30 times 2 to get 60, whereas she should have been dividing it. Well done for today. Hopefully these little sessions are just helping your brain to just keep going with those mental math strategies and hopefully to kind of think about things in maybe a different way. And when you get to secondary, if you're doing any kind of algebra lessons or any kind of balancing equations, this will be really, really useful. So hopefully you've understood it. Right, it's a nice short one today. So if you want to go and practice more mental arithmetic, hit the button, especially with addition and subtraction or times table facts or division facts or TT Rockstars. Okay, see you tomorrow.